I'm back. How are you guys doing this morning? This is L.A.Kendrick with another story from the vault of Would You Dare? Again, I just pick random stories and sometimes I just tell short stories out of my own personal vault about the scientific, the sci-fi, demons, witches, aliens, uh, cryptids, anything you can think of that would inspire movies or novels. Okay, so we talk about everything here. Today we're gonna go off the beaten path, and we're gonna talk about other countries and other continents. I do this a lot because again, it seems to be Europeanized uh, stories and mythology that's only explored. Every now and then you get something out of Egypt, and uh, that is a vast mythology there, and a lot of things that have happened there with the creatures and beasts that you've seen through Egyptology. But we're going to go and dig deeper into the lore of the continent of Africa. All right, and it's pretty impressive. It's pretty amazing because again, I do graphic novels. I have graphic novels out that are already published. I have uh, adult sci-fi that's already published, which is the Destiny versus Chaos series. And I also have the Benefits of a Bully series for the 10 and up kids to explore this kind of thing. And it's a little bit more toned down. Well, it's a lot more toned down versus what we're doing here because it's 10 and up. Again, trying to make sure we pique that curiosity to those kids, make sure they want to get outside and get dirty and break bones and break and get the knees and stuff scuffed up like we did. We was coming up. You know, no sense in sitting in front of a video game all day long. You can go out there and be the video game. That's what I always that's what I think is a very, very good method to always be physically fit and stay physically active. But today, while I got you guys in here, all right, today while I got you guys, we're going to talk about the evil mermaids of Africa. Yeah, mermaids. I don't know if you guys ever uh what you guys think of that, because you don't hear a lot of stuff about mermaids and mermen, right? But from what I understand, it's a big topic in Africa. And this was an article done in March of 2017. So let's get right into it. Within the lore and history of actual sightings of mermaids and various mer beings all over the world, these creatures have come in a surprisingly wide array of forms. There are beautiful maidens of legend with their flowing hair and fishtails, the more ape-like fish beasts of other traditions, and pretty much everything in between. Dispositions range all over the place as well, with mer beings running the gamut from seductive sirens to benevolent protectors of the sea, to shy and reclusive things only fleetingly seen, to vicious, savage monsters that can only be described as sinister and evil. Of the many places from which mer beings are reported, one place that definitely has the latter is the continent of Africa. Here on the continent of Africa, Here on the continent of Africa, mermaids are considered to be far from mere legend, and also seem to be rather far from benevolent. Many regions of Africa have rich traditions of mermaids, particularly in the southern portion of the continent. In the country of Zimbabwe, mermaids have long featured prominently in various myths and legends, where they are often called monado, Mondao, and are portrayed as malicious creatures that enjoy pulling bathers or swimmers under the waters and waves to their death. Although many see such tales as just spooky lore, there are apparently quite a few Zimbabweans who believe that they actually exist, and incidents of sightings involving mermaids often crop up here. Ah. In 2012, work being carried out at the Gokwe Dam in the Midlands, Osborne Dam in Manicland. Gokwe is spelled Gokwe, uh, and Manicland, Manisaland. I think it's Manisaland. Again, I'm butchering these words. Okay, I'm just reading them as I find them. Just like this is the first time for me, guys. It's spelled Manicalland. On reservoirs near the towns of Gowiki, Gokwe, Manisaland, and Mutare was suspended because workers refused to go to work because they claimed to have been terrorized by the mermaids lurking there, which were said to look like pale-skinned humans with black hair and fishtails. The workers were originally supposed to do repairs and install water pumps there, but became frightened when some people in the area mysteriously vanished, and others report being attacked or chased by these merbeings. Okay, so were they attacking them did they get up on land and attack them too, or? Things with the stall project got so bad that the Zimbabwe Water Resources Minister, Sam Sipaka, God, man, these words are tough, boy. Sipapa, SIPEPA, appeared before a parliament committee to explain the situation. Nkumo said that white workers had been brought in because they were not as steep in such lore, but even they claimed to have spotted the creatures and refused to go back to work. Rural and Urban Development Ministers, IGNATIUS, Chomo, also made arrangements to have tribal chiefs of the area perform rites and rituals to appease the creatures, if only to put the workers' minds at ease. Again, these are African words, and you'll go through this no matter what language you go through. If it's not, you'll even go through names like this that are difficult to pronounce, even in your own native country, right? So I'm butchering the heck out of these words, and I do apologize. The minister name is spelled IGNATIUS, Ignatus. I think it's Ignatus. According to the tribal leaders who were consulted, many lakes and reservoirs of the region are inhabited by mermaids, and dams seem to be a favorite place for them to congregate. Although they were said to be typically drawn to larger dams than the ones that had been plagued, such a huge dam at Lake Kariba, which is a hotbed of such sightings, when faced with the questions of whether they thought the creatures really exist, they were unanimous and adamant in their assertion that they do. When asked if the mermaids of Zimbabwe's lakes were real, one chief, Edison Chatoa, Mashonaland East, as a custodian of the traditional, I have no doubt for anyone to dispute this is disputing him or herself. For his part, Nkumo was more worried about the fact that the workers refused to come back, and he was going through with the rituals merely to dispel fears. He was skeptical that their problems were being caused by literal mermaids, blaming it on a mix of superstition, perhaps combined with optical illusions and dangerous water currents. He would say of the matter. In Mutare, what I think is happening is, this is what he's saying in quotes, is that there must be a sanction underneath there, which creates a hole in the water, which will create a hole in the water, will actually be swirling violently. If you fell in, you will not come out, even if you had an oxygen mask. But another African nation in the same general region, which has long experienced mermaid phenomena, is South Africa. Such tales and lore go back for centuries here, and ancient rock paintings of humanoids with fishtails drawn by the Khoi San people, which is spelled KHOI-SAN. People of the region have been found in one of the most arid areas of the country, in vast, barren, semi-desert wasteland known as Karoo. Just why this desert dwelling people would have mermaids as part of their lore remains a mystery. But the region did once lie underwater, and there have been sightings of such creatures reported from the greener and more fertile Klein Karoo to the south, where mountain spring water creates pools and even water-filled cabins where the creatures are said to live. These mountain-dwelling mermaids are in no way friendly and have long been said to lure travelers into the water in order to drown them. These creatures are typically not seen as flesh and blood creatures, but rather as powerful spirits or demons, and are greatly revered and feared by tribes of the area. They actually have a picture here, right? Let me try to get a picture shot of this real quick. Okay, that's the image, right? That's the picture of what this group of people have been seeing. So this is an ancient picture, obviously, or there's a history of these guys, doing what they do. So there's that. In some areas of South Africa, mermaids are often called the Kamian, the Kamian, K-A-A-I-M-A-N. Man, I tell you what, I'm the Michael Myers of words this morning. Interestingly, from the German word of Cayman, and typically described as a race of malevolent creatures that drown their victims and are typically described as looking like half-fish women with black hair and glowing red eyes. One sighting report comes from 2008 at a quaint and isolated rural village of Surabrock. Local witness Daniel Cupido claimed that he had been hanging out with some friends along the banks of Buffelsjag River on the evening of January 5th, when they suddenly heard a curious sound coming from a nearby low water bridge that sounded like someone bashing on a wall. When they went to investigate, it's claimed that in the murky darkness under the bridge, they could make out what looked like a white woman with long black hair. The woman seemed to be in trouble as she was thrashing about in the water. Cupido allegedly waited in the water to try to help her out, but moments later came running back as if in a state of panic. When his friends asked him what had happened, he told them the woman's eyes had a red flickering glow to them and that her gaze had been hypnotic. Her gaze had been hypnotic. One of the friends, a Martin Olickers, went over to see the thing for himself and claims that what he saw profoundly scared him. They're swimming through the water around the bridge. He could see the same woman who his friend had described completely with the red shine in her eyes. He said that the figure was definitely female and that the whole time he watched her, she made a sound reminiscent of crying, which he described as the strangest sound. The mermaid was also said to have a ethereal silver white sheen around it. Although they say none of those present had ever believed the stories of the Cayman before, this bizarre encounter apparently convinced them that the creatures were real. None of them were found to have been drinking alcohol. All of them seemed genuinely unsettled by the experience. Other reports from South Africa showcased the creature's more sinister tendencies. On December 31st, 2015, a 12-year-old boy named Sabango Masingo in Mpumalanga, South Africa, reportedly went to the bank of the tributary of the Sabi River to meet his friends for a swim, and then he never returned. When authorities were brought into the area and searched, no sign of the boy was turned up, despite intensive investigation by diving teams. Although the police blamed strong currents in the river at the time or a crocodile attack for Masanjo's disappearance, the boy's family explained to them that the boy had been kidnapped by a mermaid, an assertion backed up by other eyewitnesses who claimed that they had seen the boy pulled into water by the pale-skinned creature. That's pretty intense, man. The witness claimed that he had gone to try to help the boy, but that he had completely disappeared into the murky, muddy water, pulled in by something that could very well have been coiling to lash out at him as well. And then they show the river where it happened. Another evil mermaid is said to lurk about in a particular dam there. It's the Marikana Dam, the town near Mabelpain, northeast of Pretoria, and has been blamed for at least one death there. Known to the locals as the Mamogashwa. Mamogashwa. It is described as being half human and half fish, with the upper body resembling a woman. The strange merbeing has supposedly been prowling about the waters of the dam on numerous occasions, as well as being spotted several times basking on the banks of the lake, and is believed by locals to not only cause drownings but also to induce bad dreams to the villagers. This is a lot of lore, man. So, uh, this this is pretty intense, man. So, I mean, dang. I'm gonna do one more account. Another particularly strange account comes from the country of Tanzania, where on May 21st, 1996, a government-owned ferry called the MV Buka capsized 56 kilometers off the coast of Mwanza. The disaster was already notable for the fact that not only did approximately 1,000 people lose their lives, but also among the dead was Abdul Ubada al-Bashiri, who at the time had been the second in command of Al-Qaeda and the top guy in their African base of operations. 2 men from the terrorist organization were even allegedly sent to investigate the incident in order to discern whether or not he had been assassinated. In addition to this was a peculiar story told by rescue divers sifting through the wreckage in the aftermath of the disaster. Some of the divers reportedly came to the surface scared out of the wits, claiming that a mermaid was patrolling the wreck and speaking to them, telling them to stop looking for dead bodies and threatening violence if they did not listen. The mermaid was accused of actively chasing divers away. Man, if these creatures are real in any sense at all, if there is any truth to this, whether it's a mysterious creature or some form of spiritual entity, one wonders why they're so damn evil in Africa. Huh. Whatever the answer to that may be, there can be no doubt that mermaids are firmly rooted in the lore of many African nations, and that many of the local populace and tribes believe in their existence, perhaps coloring these alleged events with superstition and exaggeration. There is no way of knowing how true any of this is, but it is an interesting glimpse into the tales of mermaids that are not only perhaps different than the way they are portrayed elsewhere, but also look at this phenomenon in a faraway exotic land that many people may have never connected to mermaids at all. All right, there you have it. You guys, this one was pretty long, okay? It was actually way more topics in the story than that. I just stopped there because it was just a lot of information, a lot of things, and I didn't want this to take too long. Depending on what you guys are, what you guys do, or how much time you guys have, or what you guys do, you can always break it up in pieces. But definitely wanted to touch base and give you something new to look at and to think about. I can't imagine going fishing and then swimming and this is what's waiting on you, because I don't think you'd survive anything with an encounter with one of these beings. And that's pretty much a fact. That's a given, because they're going to outswim you because they have the body type, style, and it is their element, right? It's definitely their element. If there's any truth to this, I'm asking you guys, would you dare want to be caught out there like this, man? Because for me, that's pretty intense. So with that being said, we're going to wrap this up, all right? Like, share, and subscribe. Please comment below. Hit that notification bell. We need 55 people to do these things live. That way we can go Q&A, and I can pick your brain. You can pick mine. I am also a published author. Again, all you got to do is Google L.A.Kendrick. You can see me, L.A.Kendrick Books. You can see me in Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, etc., etc., okay? And in the meantime, between time, you guys, this is for you, the fans. You guys are making these things possible. It's very expensive getting this work out, and it's very time consuming, but again, it's well worth the feedback and the storytelling. It's just amazing, and it gives me great joy to do these things. And with that being said, we're going to wrap it up. Remember, check your homes. Check your closets. Check the dark recesses in your homes. All right? If you work at night, check under your car. Check inside of your car. And if you're working late into the morning where there's little light, so you can see things, because you never know what's waiting in the dark to make you a story. And this has been L.A.Kendrick. You guys, would you dare? Y'all feeling the rest.